Okay, so page 366, number 2, part B. It says, it gives you some information. It says, if one of the three sources is connected in reverse, the value of the voltage is the negative of the previous value. Explain why that would be equivalent to adding an extra pi to the phase shift. Okay, so we don't have to explain why when you put when you connect it in reverse, it makes it a negative. We just have to say why is making the sine function negative equivalent to adding an extra pi. Okay, so if I have sine of theta, if I have sine of an angle, so say I'm right here, because here sine is equal to 1. I think this is a nice place to put it. Okay, so what if I'm at pi over 2? So I'm at sine of pi over 2. This is 0, 1. So sine of pi over 2 is equal to 1. Now, what if I wanted the opposite of that? Negative sine of pi over 2 would be equal to negative 1. So where do I have an angle that if I take the sine of it, the sine of what angle is equal to negative 1? What's the equivalent of taking the negative of that sine? What angle can I use that will give me a negative 1? Well, that's right here at 3 pi over 2. That gives me a sine of negative 1. So if I took sine of 3 pi over 2, I would get negative 1. So these are equivalent. Negative sine of pi over 2 is equal to, so negative sine of pi over 2 is equal to sine of 3 pi over 2. Those things are equal to each other. This equals negative 1 and this equals negative 1. So what's the difference between this? They are pretty much the same. This is the same as taking sine of pi over 2 plus another pi. Okay, so if I take the same thing, sine of pi over 2, and I add a pi to it, it's the same thing as making the sine of pi over 2 just negative. Okay, so that is part B. Let's go ahead and continue on to part C. Show that the new output in this case would be 220 volts. All right, so they're saying that we're going to make one of our inputs is going to be rotated 180 degrees. And why is my dog whining? Quiet. All right, so what we are going to do is instead of just making it negative, I'm just going to give it a phase shift of pi. So giving it a phase shift of pi is the equivalent of making it negative. So number